Hey, football fans, it's Gary Greene in Las Vegas, professional sports bettor and sports handicapper for the past 35 years. And this is Gary Wins Videos, and we are going to talk right now about one of my favorite things to take advantage of over the years to make money. It's been very, very profitable over the years, and I could probably tell you one of my shore houses came just from this angle, but not too big this week because of just luck of teams being on a bye week that were right in the system. But the way it works is it's called defensive tired legs. And we're getting down to the middle part, even past that now of the college football season. And anytime that you have a team playing over 160 total snaps in back-to-back weeks, and then if you start adding on 3 weeks ago and 4 weeks ago, if it could get worse for some teams, and it does, we haven't really had our greatest season as far as having these situations. We're doing great with it, but there's really just one monster spot, and that is the UNLV Rebels football team. And the Rebels now, the last 3 weeks, they're going to be taking on Boise State here at home. Again, they're like the Friday Night Lights team. They get to play every Friday night, but this is a monster game for both teams. But the Boise State team is number 4 offense in the nation, and they're going to go against some tired legs that I've been watching at UNLV anyway. For the last 3 weeks, they have been on the field for 261 total plays. So they're averaging their defense to be on the field 87 plays per game the last 3 weeks. That is a lot of football on the field. Their offense is pretty good. Their offense scores. Sometimes they score fast. The defense is a little bit on the smaller side. This team has got wins. Their record is fantastic. They won last week in a game that they probably maybe shouldn't have. But good teams do that. They're a well-coached team. And the fact is this is the type of game where they could get hurt a little bit, at least from the defensive side of the ball. Can the offense keep up and score against Boise State? Sure can. But the angle here is tired legs. And this is a situation where I believe that Boise State, team total 34. I love team totals. You're getting an opportunity to take a Boise State team that has scored 56-34, 56-45, 62. And the only time they weren't way up there like that was really against Hawaii last week, where it was kind of a vanilla game. They were looking ahead to this game, and they weren't going to show much. But really, they dominated the game, even though they didn't score a lot of points. For the most part, the drives were pretty good. They had a 12-play drive they ended up punting on. But for them, they got the ball at the end of the half and then just kind of ran out the clock to run out to the halftime. But overall, this team has a very solid quarterback, a very solid offensive line, and the best running back in football in Gianti. So this could take a wear and tear. And see, the difference is, are you on the field for plays against run plays? Because even if the opposing team was just passing it every down, you're not getting beat up the same way. Your defensive front four is not getting beat up against the offensive linemen, especially if they're bigger than them. And then, of course, you're not getting battered by some big running back like a guy like Gianti is. So if you're coming into this game with tired legs, you're going to give up the yards. You're going to give up the points. And I think even at UNLV head coach Odom, he knows that. When we look at the situation for the Rebels here against this offense, it's almost like they're going to for sure give up 2 big runs by Gianti, because he's been doing that all year. This guy's going for the Heisman Trophy now, and he's shooting for 200 rushing yards every week. They have a very capable quarterback. They have capable wide receivers, so they can put points on the board. They gave Oregon a run for their money, and so there should be no trouble for them on offense, given UNLV all it can handle. So that's one of these games right now where you have Boise State. They average over 500 total yards per game. They have 233 yards passing and 290 yards per game rushing it. So they have a good mix. You can't just load the box. They'll beat you pretty good on the pass. But right, and the way college football is, teams aren't as deep. the transfer portal, you move along if you're not going to start, so you don't have guys just waiting in the wings anymore. They want to move on and play somewhere else, and that's why you end up getting the situations that you get where you're not as deep anymore. The talent is more spread out. We always know the top 4, 5, 6, 7 teams. They're loaded, and they're the teams you expect to win the national championship. But in the old days, those great teams, you could just run a bet on them every single week and know that you were going to probably win 9 out of 12 times. Now it's a little bit more even, so you have to pick your spots. But again, this angle is called tired legs, and it's called that for a reason, because as you get later into the season, you're not going to get healthier. And I've watched this UNLV team. They have a super stud on defense, but the rest of the defense is a little bit shaky. They don't tackle great, and I think that this is a chance for Boise State to be able to get that 34 points in the team total. And it's really just going on a normal thing I've been doing for some 30 years. I did this angle on the radio for many years. It was always profitable. And it's just a tough position for UNLV to be. Now, this is a revenge game as well, because these two teams played in the championship game last year, and Boise State got the best of them in that game, 44-20. So I know that UNLV will be up for the game. It's a very big game for both teams. Sometimes there's a little feeling out in games like this, but I think that right now, the way Boise State's playing, they laid down last week for this game. They are going to come out hot, I think, and be able to move the ball. But again, I said this about different teams so far on some of these videos, or players that I thought would excel. I made a mention that I thought Justin Jefferson would have a big game on Thursday night, and at halftime, as I'm taping this, he's up there pretty high. It's sometimes matchups are just, you just can't stop somebody. You just hopefully try to slow them and hope that your offense can match point for point. So tired legs for UNLV Friday night in this game on CBS Sports Network at 7:30, so it'll be a national game. Everybody can watch it. This will be a heavily bet game, especially being here in Las Vegas where I am, because of the Rebels playing, and people want to root for the Rebels, and I'm super excited for the Rebels. I love the progress of this team and what head coach Odom's done. And I love what the Boise State guys been doing too. So these guys have really played well, and they've played some tough competition. So they're well ready. They haven't played a cupcake schedule for the most part. They've played some good teams as well. And I expect that this Boise State team will take advantage of the tired legs of UNLV, at least as far as the team total. I'm going to be rooting for UNLV, even though I'm going to be rooting for Boise State to score a lot of points in this game. Now, when we come into the game, again, the magic number to me over a 2-game period where the red flag goes off is 160 total plays. There's only 2 teams that have actually, besides UNLV, 3 total, but 2 teams that were over 160 total plays on defense the past 2 weeks. And they are Central Florida and Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic does not play, so they're catching the right week to get a bye. Central Florida does play, and they're going to get a tough opponent in BYU. They've been on the field for 166 plays, so it's 83 plays a week for the last 2 weeks. And what hurts Central Florida is they run that quick offense, fast-paced offense, and when they go 3 and out, which they've been doing the last couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks, it's not been the same loaded offense that we've seen in years past. You're putting the defense right back out on the field, so BYU is coming into a good situation because they should be able to take advantage of that as well. But that's a little bit of a tougher game. BYU has played a lot of close games. I've had BYU. I think I did a video about BYU, and we won easily on that one. It was a big underdog play about a month ago, and that was impressive because I don't have many big plays, and all my plays are 1 unit, and most of the big plays are 1.5, and very occasional 2, and extremely rare 2.5 unit play. So it was I think my first big play of the year at that point. So, and they won big. They won by 20 something or almost 30 points, and they were getting over a touchdown. So it was always nice to win that kind of game. But the other 3 games that you might want to look at a little bit is Baylor was on the field for 85 plays last week. Memphis was on the on the field for 96. And Memphis is the same thing. Fast offense, running, they score quick a lot. What a fantastic and exciting game that was last week. But again, you put your defense, and the defenses a lot of times for these teams are small anyway. There's only so many teams that can have the bigger guys. And these middle run conference schools, they have smaller guys for the most part. They might have one or two talented studs, but for the most part, the depth isn't there, as I mentioned, and then you have just smaller guys. So as the season wears on, this is when these numbers start to come into play. And this is probably the first year that I've had a low number of this, because teams just, the way it worked out was the teams in trouble that I was going to pounce on end up getting a bye week, and we got that again this week. But the last one is Toledo, and Toledo was on the field for 92 plays. So Toledo hosting Bowling Green. Memphis is at least catching Charlotte, so that helps a little because they're not really a high-flying offense. The Baylor one is the one that could be in a little bit of trouble with that because they're playing Oklahoma State, who's been losing, so they have nothing to lose. They can play free and easy, but their offense is pretty good. They have a solid running back who was coming into the season one of the top 2 in the country. So, if you run the ball against a little bit of a tired team, but that's only a one-game sample, so I wouldn't take that one into full consideration, but it's just something to look at. There's so many games on the board to bet every week, folks. You want to make sure to try to take advantage of good situations as well. You always want to get the best line. You want to get the best value, but situations do come into play. And who are you playing? I mentioned that every team in the NFL that played the Detroit Lions the next week, when they play, they've lost. Whoever's played the Lions, they've lost the game the next week. Well, why is that? Partly because the Lions' offensive line is the best in football, and they're wearing the hell out of you. And that's usually the case of why any team that's coming in, if you really per se can't stop the run, or you can't get any pressure, and you're on the field and the other team's offenses are having 10, 12 play drives, you're going to get tired. It's just natural, at least in the NFL. For the most part, most teams have some depth. That's the league. You have depth, but not in college football, and especially not with the mediocre teams. So hopefully this helps a little bit for you for tired legs. We'll try to continue to do this segment for the rest of the year, each and every week. And I bet you by next week we'll have 3 or 4 teams and not just one like UNLV that's in this disastrous position of being on the field a ton for the past 3 weeks. That's a lot of plays on the field, 87 average per game. And I think it'll take a toll each and every week here the rest of the way for UNLV's defense. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I am Gary Greene, and this is Gary Wins. Don't forget to check out all our videos. And if you want, you can always give me, if you have any questions to ask, you can send me an email at GaryGreenWins, and Green has an E at the end, at gmail.com. GaryGreenWins@gmail.com. And I hope everybody has a great winning weekend, and make sure to never bet what you cannot afford to lose. And take care, and check out more videos that I will be posting later tonight.